I know we have a special guest waiting for us, and we're going to get to him in 1 second. You guys are really going to like tonight's show because we're going to be answering all kinds of questions that you didn't even know you had, which is really cool. But at the same time, guys, we also have, what is it, 4 cold starts of the C8 Z06. So hopefully you guys are really interested in seeing that happen because it's happening.
Guys are really going to like tonight's show.
Okay, so someone's echoing here. Who's echoing?
That's Shane.
Shane's got a little bit of echo happening.
Turn your laptop down.
Yeah, you want to turn that laptop speaker down, Shane?
Working on it.
Okay.
Look at those big, beautiful windows. I love those.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we changed up the setup here a little bit for you. We made the windows a little bit larger. I made the car of the week over here a little bit more recognizable. And Matt Hurley already mentioned that is his brand new, new to, actually I can't even say new to him. That's his ZR1. He just bought it. And the story of this ZR1 is really crazy. So he was the original owner, sold the car, and then bought it back just recently. So I can't even say it's new to him because technically he owned it before. It's a crazy story, but it's a ZR1 and you don't get to see those too often. So I thought that's car of the week for sure. He said that he should have sent me a better picture. I think that's a pretty nice picture. I think it works very nicely. But just a quick hello to everybody. Oh yeah, 2020 Matrix 8. I wanted to also address the fact that he is actually in the thumbnail for this video. You guys clicked on this video. He is the guy on the far left with his girlfriend or wife there with him. I can't remember which one he said. But either way, I thought it was funny because I found that thumbnail is on the CorvetteBlogger.com, and I thought it was a perfect thumbnail for what we're talking about tonight. And he's in it. I think that's freaking awesome.
That is torch. Real quick, Matt's car is torch red, right?
Yes, that is torch red. Sweet ride, Matt, says Mark Cutsey. General Lee, congrats again, Matt. Absolutely, man. He has literally got the stable as far as Corvettes are concerned because he's got a C7 Z01 now, a C8 Z06, and I believe a C6 Z06, right?
Yeah, I believe.
So he has those 3, and I have 2 of those 3. I'm working on that 3rd one. Steven Risha says, loving the ride, Matt. Steven and anybody else who ordered the Vet Syndicate t-shirts, we just put them out in the mail, so you should be getting them any day now.
Yep.
Steve asks if there is a car that Matt doesn't own.
I don't think so.
It doesn't look like it. But guys, we're here to talk about some serious information that comes from the museum. So the National Corvette Museum Bash 2023 just finished up. And you guys know Shane, the one who gives us the thumbs ups all the time. He was actually there and he did a lot of filming for us. And I'm sure you guys have seen some of the videos that I've put out already of the footage that he sent to me. He's here to kind of go over his whole experience there because, yeah, it was quite an experience. Before we get to that, though, yeah, Matt Hurley's C6 Z06 is actually the Z07 package car, which if you don't know this, the C6 had very few Z07 package cars made. So he's got a unicorn and then another unicorn with a 2019 ZR1. This guy's got freaking amazing taste in cars.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Robertson with the first super chat of the day. He says, if you could buy a 70th anniversary edition Z06, the next order cycle for $40K over, or wait for a 24 with new features, what would you do? If the 24 is at MSRP, I would wait. Ooh, Matt Hurley says buy it. All right. Man, I got two people saying buy it. All right. Well, I've just been outnumbered, so it sounds like you should probably buy it, Steve. The only reason I say wait is because, again, assuming I should have actually prefaced with this. Are you planning on keeping the car? Because if you're planning on ever selling it, that 70th anniversary edition is going to be worth more money than a 2024. If you're just buying it for yourself and you don't care about that resale value in the future, I would wait, but if you want that, then yes, get the 70th right now. All right, so guys, I want to bring Shane on here and let him talk to you guys a little bit about his experience down at the museum and the bash that just happened. I'm going to ask him some leading questions and let him answer for you because he was really the guy that experienced all this, and I thought it would be nice to recap with the guy who was actually there. So, guys, this is Shane. If you haven't seen him yet, there's his beautiful mug. Look at that beautiful beard of this man. I'll tell you what.
Hey, guys.
So,
What's up, Shane?
Yeah.
Hey, my boys right here. Finally get to chat with them in the live chat.
Exactly. Thumbs
It's
up.
been a little while. The last time we were down in Texas.
Yeah. In here.
Yes,
Yeah, we were in-
and Steve.
This was
Steve
Shane's
gave me the
room when we
midget
were
chair.
Yeah.
The midget chair,
Steve gave
yeah.
me the midget chair in the back.
Exactly. All right, guys. So this is Shane. This is the thumbs up guy. I wanted to bring him on the show, like I said, to have him clarify a little what happened down at the bash. I really wanted to go this year, and I was actually supposed to meet up with Shane at one point, but a bunch of things happened that led me not to be able to get down there. So one of the biggest things I want to ask you, Shane, and I know you answered this in a video I have coming out soon, is Chevy building the ERAY currently down there?
So I went through the plant tour on Thursday morning at 9:15, and they had one come off the assembly line earlier that morning during their shift, and I believe they had one come off a day or two prior. So right now they are building them for the higher ups for GM and some of the key other people too to test out and stuff. And there was a couple in the parking lot car show at the bash too that all had the Michigan plates and were out there with the actual cars being presented for the car show. So there is some out in the wild currently being used by the employees.
Awesome. So while you were there, you actually got to see one getting built.
Not me, no. It came off the assembly line just before we started our tour in the morning, and it was at the right at the end of the assembly line when they drive them off. It was sitting there parked with another car that was waiting for some QC.
Okay. So
Quality control. Yeah.
the other thing, again, this is answered in a video I have coming out soon. I probably should have put that video out before this, but another question that I've gotten a lot, and I know you have as well, is tell me what's going on with the ceramic matrix gray color.
So that was the confusing thing, and I actually had to ask the question twice during the bash because I wanted to confirm, and then also I found out during the plant tour. GM had made an error probably in the fall, and that was confirmed by Harlan Charles. They had put out that ceramic matrix gray was actually going to be leaving this year because it started in at least the C7 period, so at least in the 19s at least. Maybe the 65 carbon. Maybe you guys can answer that too.
Yeah,
that might have been the first year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go. And so they originally said that it was supposed to go away, and then it was an error. It's so popular they decided to keep it for whatever reason. I didn't get a specific answer, but ceramic matrix gray is going to stay as the 24 lineup color. So we were not going to get our specialty green or purple that I was anticipating replacement for that color. So
Okay. So we're maxed out right now at 14 colors then, right?
right, correct. Yeah, there's not going to be a change in the amount of colors. And cacti is a direct replacement for caffeine, the brown. The 70th white pearl is being replaced by Seawolf. And of course, the Riptide is replacing the Elkhart Lake Blue. So,
Okay. Awesome. So Joey B says, Shane, were they offering ERAY rides at the National Corvette Museum?
no, not that not for me anyway. What I did see or what I did miss is I was there on Wednesday for like the pre-prep or the setup, and I missed them coming off the trailers and a few things with some of the people coming in. Paragon Performance was offering some of the big wigs rides in their car with the supercharger package on it. But none of the E-Rays that were present were, other than being able to sit in them and check out the features, or some of us customers being able to or start them up. No one was able to give rides in them or anything like that. So
Okay. All right, guys, if you have any specific questions about the Bash, feel free to put them in the comment section. We're going to get Shane's kind of take on as much of this as we can. I just saw Glass City said that he just finished putting in his Pro Clip with the magnetic holder. It's so nice to grab the phone and not have to dislocate your shoulder to get it. Yeah, that is a really nice thing. Did you buy the Pro Clip, Glass City, or did you win one? I can't remember if you were the one that won that or not. Elijah says, were there Z06s driving around?
Yeah, there was quite a few Z06s. There was actually, I was surprised, there was a lot more Z06s present as far as the parking lot car show, which some of those videos might come out later on this week. There was quite a few, the people who owned them and had them present and was participating in the car show event.
Yeah, a couple of the videos that you filmed when you sent them over to me to edit them, I could hear in the background a Z06 either starting up or flying by. And it was funny because I could tell immediately, oh, that was a Z06 for sure. So definitely cool. Let's see. Gray with red. Yep, nope. Jet Driver says, thanks, Shane. Yep, we all appreciate your coverage for the Bash. Let's see, what else we got?
It was a good time.
So you saw the clear engine, the new clear engine cover in person.
Yes. So when I was in the conference that they were holding at the same time as they were doing the install for the Cacti car, they did mention the new clear engine cover. The one I saw, it looks like it might be a prototype. You could see some of the like a sealant around the edges of it and stuff. Didn't look like it was a perfected model yet, but it does retain all of the heat shielding and things on the back side of the cover. So I thought that was really interesting that maybe they feel that the heat still needs to be protected. So
yeah. See, that was actually one of the reasons I wanted to bring that up to you, is because you saw it in person. I have not seen it in person, but I had Dr. Corvette actually send me a bunch of pictures, and I was one of the first ones here to post it on the internet. And I thought right off the bat, this kind of looks like something that was made in someone's garage. And then I found out later, it is a prototype. It literally was made in someone's garage. And the final version that you're going to get from GM is going to, number one, look a lot more finished, but number two, could potentially look different. So that little window that they have on there could increase in size depending on how they feel the heat affects that top whenever it's put down. Now, that's one of the big things about the aftermarket AMT custom designs version that's all clear, is there is no heat insulation on the backside. That could be an issue, but we haven't even 100% said for sure that is a problem. But based on GM's at least initial version of this, it looks like they are thinking it's going to be an issue. So the clear cover is going to be, and if you guys remember, we actually talked about the clear cover on the ERAY months ago here on the channel, whenever the visualizer accidentally showed it off. Now, we were kind of going back and forth as to whether or not that was a feature coming or if it was a glitch in the visualizer, because the visualizer is not really that great as far as like not glitching out all the time. So we kind of talked about it before, but it looks like it is in fact a thing. R22.
My AMT one at the show over the weekend, everybody that came by that watched the video said they liked it in the video, but seeing it in person, they loved it even more. They're like, it's so much better in person.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, in video, it looks absolutely fantastic. So if it looks better in person, I don't know. That's going to break the world if that's the case.
I'm telling you.
All right, so one other question I have for you, Shane, is I know you got it on video, but you got to actually see in person the ERAY moving under the battery power, or the shuttle, I guess it was at that point. What was how did you feel about that, seeing this car moving without hearing anything?
On some of the YouTube videos, it has that whine or that noise that electric cars might have. But seeing it move here when they were adjusting them for the show and setup for each day, I didn't hear anything. It was quiet while they were moving them around. So I don't know
Yeah.
if that's something that can be turned off at some point, or if once it hits production, if it'll be mandatory and will never be able to be turned off. But the ones I saw moving here back and forth while we were all around in the crowd, they were quiet. So
Yeah, so I think at least the initial E-Rays, they are not set up to be sold yet. And that noise that you hear, that whining noise, that is legally required. So you can't have a car that is quiet moving around the streets, no matter what the stipulation is. It has to be making some sort of noise for blind people, stuff like that, that wouldn't be able to see the car coming. Yeah. So the reason that one doesn't have that yet is because those are still the prototype cars that, they're not driving around the cities in. But that will be something that will come to the car that you will not be able to turn off. I just think it's weird seeing a car like a Corvette that should be making this loud roaring noise moving without any kind of engine sound.
Yeah.
And I think in one of the videos that I took, I was in the middle of filming and I tried to open one of the E-Rays and it was locked. Then I realized that, oh yeah, it's moving forward here in a second.
Yeah.
So there was somebody getting ready to move it on me. So
R23 HTC says, and I don't think you'll be able to answer this for sure, but I'm pretty sure I know the answer. Is the window on the new cover, is it glass or plexiglass? He hasn't seen anyone answer that question yet.
It's
not glass,
but it is. Yeah. Do it.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it is some sort of a composite glass, because in one of my videos, I'm actually knocking on it to try to confirm if it's a glass or some sort of polymer. So, Jason, you might have a better answer, but yeah, it's definitely not glass.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say the one that's mine is and I have to read this like every time. Why it won't stick in my head is beyond me, but it is a heat. It's made for high heat, basically. Yeah. It's a type of plexiglass, but it's made for high heat. And of course, there's a seal around the perimeter, so when you fasten it down, it's to prevent that heat from escaping and jacking up your roof when it's stowed and things like that. So,
yep. Yeah. Real quick, I want to answer the question that I got from Mark Gorski. He says that he has the Pro Clip for the C8, and he's getting ready to install the Expel PPF on his infotainment display. Do you think the clip will mess up the PPF? No. So you just have to watch when you're installing it. The clip will kind of start up at the top and you're supposed to slide it down. Just make sure as you're sliding it, you're also kind of rotating your hand to pull the clip part away from the front of the screen. And then once it gets into place, you can then let it kind of fall back into position. You don't want to drag that thing down the front of it with Expel on it. Dr. Corvette, what's up? I just mentioned that your picture was one of the reasons that I was able to get that out so fast to the world about the new clear cover available from GM. He says that it is a nice, solid, thick piece of plexiglass. It doesn't look the best to me. It's actually because, Dr. Corvette, we're talking about it. It is, in fact, a prototype, and GM themselves had said that the final product is going to look a lot more finished. So, guys, what other questions about the Museum Bash do you guys have? Shane is on board here to answer anything you may have. He's been there the last couple days. I know, Shane, you had said that you were a little disappointed with this year's turnout versus last year's.
Yeah, so last year's setup was on the opposite side of the museum. It was set up in like the fields, grass, and there's like what they call, I think it's Champion Circle. There's like basically just a traffic circle behind the building and stuff for you to loop around through, and it's part of like the parade goes through that area. Most of the vendors, which there was probably at least double what was here this year, if not more, for vendors last year. So wow. I don't know if they're anticipating the crappy weather, the overcast, or the rain and sprinkles that were scheduled for the bash, but we only had about half amount of the vendors we had last year. So
okay. And
I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
You've been big on cacti, but having only seen it in pictures, what's your feeling now seeing it in person?
So I like the cacti color much, much better in person. Filming, photographing doesn't seem to quite catch the color. like it does when you're in person. It's still not my favorite, but it's definitely better than what I thought it was originally. So if you're interested in the cacti color, I highly recommend you try to see it in person at some point. And I believe it's going to be the exact same color like on the Chevy Blazer or the Chevy Trax, for sure. So if you get to see those at your local dealership, that color should be available now in most of those models. So.
Okay, so
I commented when I was watching the video, it definitely had, or I think it might have been you, it had gray kind of mixed into it. It looked, to me, the best I've ever seen it look, because normally I'm like, that's a color I don't want even near me. And when I saw it in the video, I actually liked it.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's better in person, like I said, than I was, on the fence with all the YouTube videos or anything I've seen up until this point. In person makes it look much, much better and gives you that perspective that you're missing when it's on camera. So.
Yeah. So, one of the questions that have come up here in the comment section, and I actually answered this in the latest video I put out yesterday, was about the start-stop button in the E-Ray. So the start-stop button is immediately turned on and activated if you start the car in touring mode. Once you start the car in touring mode, it's on, it's ready to go. You can disable it. But if you start the car and put it into track mode, it automatically disables it without you having to push any extra buttons. So if you're not a fan of the start-stop feature, which most people aren't, driving the car in, they didn't say anything about sport that I heard, but pretty much if you get in the car and put it in the track, it's going to turn it off. Or if you get in and just immediately hit that button, that will turn it off as well. Elijah says, is the cacti blue or green?
The cacti is definitely a green color. It's more of a matte. There is no metallics or pearls or anything in the cacti paint, so it is a matte finish. But it's going to be green throughout, with, I think, more of, if it's in the shade, it's going to look more of a grayish color. If it's out in the bright sun, you'll definitely see the green. But it's not like a transition type paint or anything.
Okay. Matt Hurley asks, how many people / Corvettes attend, Shane? Do you have any idea how many were there this past time?
No, and one of the things I think I mentioned in the video is that each day someone arrives or shows up for the bash, they bring their cars, and throughout there's a different set of cars that come each day. Friday and even Saturday seem like they're much more busy than Thursdays are, the first day of the bash. I think that has something to do with maybe work schedules or things that people don't plan around them. But each day grows. It seems like it gets a little busier. And then they host the parking lot car show, and they actually give out awards to the participants and things that are there. And it's set up throughout like 2 different main parking lots. One was in front of the Stingray Grill, which is the smaller lot. And then there's the main lot right in front of the main entrance area when you pull into the museum.
Okay. All right, guys. So we are here with Shane, who, if you guys are just tuning in, we're here with Shane, who was down at the Bash this past weekend. He has a lot of answers for some questions that we have. But if you guys could, please go ahead, smash that thumbs up button. Let us know you're liking the content so we can keep bringing on special guests for you from time to time. Make these videos a little bit more informational is kind of what we're going for with bringing on somebody who is a little bit more specialized in specific answers. We're going to probably try to do this once a month at least to get a little bit more, like I said, specialized answers. Now, real quick, I'm going to take a break from asking Shane questions, and I want you guys to turn your attention to, hopefully, Steve. Steve, do you have those?
I do.
Do it.
Yes, I do.
All right, so the current giveaway going, guys, is the engine dress-up parts from ACS Composite, painted a perfect carbon flash black. You're not going to do the sound effects?
I'm not. I'm still a little bitty screen. You won't be able to see it.
All right, do it. Do it. All right, so... Oh yeah, that's right. That's got the winner tonight, guys. So
that's tonight.
That is tonight.
So I will let you know we gave one of these at our event we'll talk about later, and they love this. So people were fighting over this thing. So
Yeah. So
And it
real
goes
quick, guys, the Magic Link will allow you to have a wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay in a car that has Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, but it's not wireless. So you would use this little box to make it wireless. And it will be yours. For a donation of $10, you'll get entered to win the Magic Link as well as the engine dress-up parts from ACS Composite. Even if you win once, that does not disqualify you from winning again whenever we draw the winner for the ACS Composite engine parts, which will be 2 weeks from today. But that Magic Link will be drawn tonight. So you could win that tonight. So $10 donated to the Venmo link in the chat or Super Chat, however it is you are able to do it. Every $10 donated is an entry. The more you donate, the better your chances are of winning. But for now, we're going to go back to Shane. We're going to ask him a couple more questions. And let's see if we have some more questions in here. Okay, go ahead, Jason.
I got a question for you. What do you think of the ERAY wheels? I know Matt Hurley and I were talking about it because he saw them in person, and when he sent me a photo, most of the pictures I see of them, I think they just look terrible. But he sent me on this red mist look. I don't know, man. They looked amazing. How do you feel about them in person?
You know, they're growing on me. When they first did the reveal for the E-Ray, I was kind of torn about the way they looked. I called them the Starfish. I don't know if that's going to be appropriate or not, because they kind of got that little twist to the 5 spokes in them. So they look like a starfish to me. But in person, they look much, much better than the previous videos or photos that I saw. And the design is growing on me a lot. I actually really like them now as far as for that car or for the Z06 in that matter. I think it's a good fit and a good looking rim.
In your opinion, do you think they're better than what the offerings are for the C8 Stingray?
Absolutely. Absolutely better than what's offered for the Stingray.
No
doubt.
They set the mark very high, but
Right.
Nice.
All right, so we got another question here. R23HTC says, was there any mention to the differences between the PS4 Stingray tire and the E-Ray tire?
I believe they had a conference one of the days to discuss the Michelin composites, the tires, and some of the stuff that they did, but I didn't attend that, so I don't have an answer for him.
Okay. Next question we got is, was Taj Jukter there?
Yeah, he was there every day. He made appearances, did autographs, and he was in some of my videos too for the conference that I attended. So,
okay. We're getting a lot of agrees that the cacti looks better in person, which is good. Dr. Corvette says that he likes the cacti. He doesn't typically like blue cars, but that new blue is very nice. The Riptide blue is a really nice, from what I can tell at least, I haven't seen it in person, but on the videos, it looks like it's a nice combination of Laguna blue and the current, oh man, why is it, I'm drawing a blank. Admiral. Is it Admiral?
Yeah, the darker blue that they had prior.
No. What's the blue currently?
Elkhart Lake Blue is the one that's replacing
Elkhart Lake Blue. Man, I was just drawing a blank. Okay. It's like Elkhart Lake Blue and Laguna Blue. If you guys remember Laguna Blue from the C7, those two together, it forms a slightly lighter blue. Would you agree with that, Shane?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely lighter and brighter. And I don't know if it's noticeable or not to most people, but it looked like there's more metallics in it. At least you could see them because it's a lighter blue now. So.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Laguna was amazing.
Stupid Fast Truck says, I wonder if my mode turns off auto stop. It probably does, because I believe you can set up my mode to also disable 4-cylinder deactivation. Let's see what else we got here. Steve Robertson says that cacti reminds him of the color of Walter White's Pontiac Aztec on Breaking Bad. And just because I read that comment a second ago, I pulled that up for you guys to see. It actually kind of does. I mean, that's Walter White doing his thing there with the Pontiac Aztec, and it does look similar. What do you guys think of that? So, anybody going to be Breaking Bad with their new E-Ray?
Never seen it.
Oh, God. Got to see it, man. It's one of the greatest shows.
I know, and that's why I won't watch it. I can't, man. Anything that everybody loves, I just have this need to go the opposite. I don't know, stupid, but yeah.
BPR06, he says, since I won the race ramps, will you let me win the engine cover pieces? We didn't let you win the race ramps, man. You squeaked in there somehow. I think you only donated like $60 or something, so you squeaked in.
Hey, Larry Anthony's in the house.
Larry Anthony. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about Larry Anthony actually. So, good thing he popped in here because it totally blew my mind.
Him last week, remember?
Yeah, well, he was on here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, he came on right at the very end, right as we were talking about how he was the only one left that didn't come in.
Yeah.
So Larry's car is currently being built, and he has a 70th anniversary Z06 coming. He went with the Carbon Flash Black Edition, and his is number 347. So we have as up to date as you can get. There has been 347 70th anniversaries built as of today. So his is still being built. So I guess technically it's 346. But once his is done, 347 of the anniversary edition Z06s have been built so far, which is really cool. It's really awesome to have that kind of up-to-date information because I doubt you're going to find that much of an up-to-date number anywhere on the internet right now. So very cool. If you guys were wondering how many of these things have been built, you now have an answer. Thanks for tuning in, Larry. We're always happy to see you. Let's see. Do we have any other questions about the bash? I'm kind of scrolling through the comments now. I know I'm a little bit behind here. Joey B says he donates $20 to the channel, so he gets 2 entries. He says, Shane, did you buy any raffle tickets for upcoming raffles? That's a good question.
No, I was going to, and I decided to pass. I wasn't going to try to get in on any of the raffles.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah.
I know there were a couple people asked questions about the cacti color, but the Artemis interior on the cacti car, on some of the videos and photos we've seen, it kind of has a green look to it as well. But in person, I think it looks like a dark gray or a clay color. So, yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested in that interior, it's definitely not green. It doesn't stand out as green at all, at least not at first. So
your videos did a pretty good job of showing that off because I saw that immediately too. It looked more like I would say clay is a good way to describe it. It was less of a green and more of a neutral clay color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a dark gray or a clay. Yeah, absolutely.
And then 2020 Matrix 8 says, yes, let's talk about Speed Phenom's damaged carbon fiber rims. Seems like none of these service techs are qualified to work on them yet. Now, I want to clarify this a little bit because I did watch that video and there was a little bit of clickbait going on. The wheels are not cracked. They're not beyond saving. They're not something he can't drive on. What he did notice, though, is exactly what you said. The techs are not qualified to work on these things. And honestly, the techs haven't been qualified to work on their own freaking cars since at least the beginning of the C7. I still am looking for someone who can properly align the rear end of my C7 ZR1 because that rear end has an adjustable caster, and the only shop I know that can do it is in Maryland, which is a 3.5-hour drive for me. And of course, that's the guys who make the DSC Sport controller. Or I can go to Texas because Jason found somebody down there who can do it apparently. My point is that I have called dealerships in the Pennsylvania, Jersey, Delaware, and Ohio, and none of them even have the tool or have any idea what I'm talking about whenever I ask them if they have a digital angle gauge, which is what you need to adjust the rear caster. None of them have any idea what I'm talking about. And they were supposed to be able to rent these from GM to properly align the backs of the C7s and the C8s. And I believe the C6 had an adjustable rear caster as well. And they can't do it. So when you take in a carbon fiber wheel setup that's worth, I mean, I know they're selling for $12,000 from when you order the car, but aftermarket, if you take those wheels off that car and sell them aftermarket, you're probably looking at closer to 20. So you have a $20,000 setup of wheels and they can't do anything with them without severely messing up the center cap portion of where the wheel would actually sits down into the machine. And it's unfortunate. They destroyed Speed Phenom's wheels. Like it's not that they can't be used, they still can be, but they look horrible. And you don't buy carbon fiber wheels for them to look like junk. You buy them because you want the wheel to look like it should, which is awesome. And unfortunately, his are all messed up now. GM's supposed to get him a new set of wheels. Who knows when that's going to happen?
Wouldn't you think the dealership would like know, because this stuff is so expensive that I'm sure it's coming out of their end. You know, you would think that they would either have somebody who knew how to do it, or, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't even make any sense.
Well, GM is supposed to have people, they're supposed to put them through training classes on these new cars whenever they're coming down the line. And I know they did. They focused really heavily on that whenever the C8 first came out. They had special tools for, aligning it and all this other stuff. But from the day that they were trained, if I had to guess, they got one training and that was it. And most of these techs see a C8 maybe once every 6 months. So number one, they've either forgotten, or two, they've quit and moved on to a different dealership. And now there's a new guy in there who's never been taught any of this stuff. It's always got to be like this revolving problem, because like I said, I have called countless dealerships to get my car aligned, because I should be able to take my Chevy Corvette to a Chevrolet dealership to get the rear end aligned, and I can't. They will not know how to do it. I've taken it to them before with my C7 Z06, and they messed up that alignment so bad that whenever I finally did drive down to Maryland to get it fixed, I mean, the guy, you can see the video. I have the video up on my channel. It's completely out of whack. Like, he said it was no wonder that I was experiencing weird things over bumps and stuff, because both sides of the car were aligned differently. So over a bump, the car didn't know what to do.
Right.
Oh man, that's my rant for the night. But it's definitely, it's disappointing that it doesn't seem like it's changing, and they really should have a more specialized program. And he actually mentions that in his video, Speed Phenom, that Ford has a specialized program like this for the Ford GT for exactly this reason. Because if you don't have something like this, how are you going to get these cars worked on?
So where do you take the GT? I mean, I'm sorry, but if I had a GT and I took it to my local Ford dealer, I don't think they could do it. I'm sorry.
No, and they don't. Ford won't even touch it, but they'll tell you where to go to get the specialized Ford GT treatment. So it's just like if you had a Ferrari, and he actually mentioned this in the video. If you have a Ferrari, you're not going to take it to a Toyota dealership for service. You're going to take it to a Ferrari dealership, which specializes in high-end cars, of course. A Corvette is a high-end car, but it's loosely built by, a mid-range company as far as quality of cars is concerned. So how can their techs are really going to focus mostly on those mid-range cars, because that's where most of the money is made. You don't make as much service in a Corvette. So I understand to one degree, but at the same time, if you're going to continue to sell these cars and they're going to continue to just go up and up and up and up and up in quality and performance, there has to be a specialized service program for these.
I would agree. That's why I hate to say it, but a lot of times I go to Corvette World to get stuff done because I trust Keith.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. You trust Keith. What happens if Keith leaves? What then?
I find out where he lives.
Exactly. That's my point, though, is that even if Corvette World had something in place, which I doubt that they do, Keith knows his stuff, and that's fantastic. I would go there too, just based on what you've told me. But once he leaves, what's left? You have probably people who aren't trained properly to do the work.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah, I can't, because I'm not a fan of his, but no, right. Agreed.
All right, guys. So again, if you could please hit that thumbs up button. We just talked a little bit about kind of the problem with Chevy and their service program with the Corvette. We do still have Shane on here to answer questions about the National Corvette Museum Bash that just ended. So if you guys have any more questions about that, I would like to get him a little bit more involved in this, just because he was there. So he has all of the answers you guys could possibly need. Hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't yet, you can donate $10 to win the giveaway prizes. One of them tonight will be given away, which is the Magic Link. That's your wireless CarPlay. And in 2 weeks, you will also be entered to win the engine dress-up parts from ACS Composite that are painted carbon flash.
Hey, Justin, I did want to give a shout out to our subscribers.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I was there at the Bash, a couple guys from Nova Scotia came, Ivan and Claude. They gave you and I some challenge coins from their Corvette club. So the next time you and I meet and link up together, I'm going to be sharing those with you. And also Bradley, I probably met a good 10, at least a dozen probably subscribers that stood out when they found out I was filming or recognized me, or bless Dr. Corvette over there with the screenshot of this sexy mug on his phone so he could identify me when he came to the Bash.
That was awesome.
Yeah, he sought me out, and so I really appreciate you, Earl. That was hilarious. So you were a good dude, man. I loved hanging out with you this weekend. Yeah. So it was a good time. So
Earl really
definitely
he really is one of the cooler guys out there for sure.
Yeah. But the subscribers there, like I said, at least a dozen of them or so approached me and said something and thanked us and talked about the show. And a handful of others heard us talking about the show and asked for the YouTube link and what time we do the live chats. So hopefully you're going to start getting some more subscribers soon.
Hey, you can never have enough. I mean, the idea of building this Corvette community that we've been building is that's what it's all about, sharing the passion and getting as many in here as possible just so we can all hang out as car guys. But
that's it.
I did have a question in here, I thought. Yeah, so Mr. T here says it's all about training. It absolutely is. So to keep the damaged wheels and everything down, GM probably needs to do a little bit better job of training. But MPM 717, he says that this is one of the many reasons why Corvette needs to break off from Chevy. We can't have champagne cars sold and serviced at beer dealerships / service departments. Absolutely correct. Something needs to change here, whether it is Corvette breaking off on its own or at least offering Corvette only service areas. Just like Ford's doing with the Ford GT. Something's got to give, because I have new tires coming for my ZR1 and I'm not going to even want to drive that car until it gets an alignment. And I can't find anywhere that will align it that isn't 3 hours away. And I think that's just ridiculous. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it's a Chevy. I should be able to just go to a Chevy department and get it done. Thumbs up, everybody, please. Stay safe and keep the Corvette buzz going. Them Z06 production numbers are looking great for the last 2 weeks. Yes, they are. And that's another thing Shane might be able to talk about. Did you see any Z06s on the production line when you went through the tour?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few Z06s going through there. I highly recommend, if anybody ever gets a chance to stop through there. It was an 1.5-hour tour for the plant, and it's only like, I think, $50 to do it. It was inexpensive. It was a great time, and you get such good information from it. One of the key takeaways I learned from that is, like, from let's say start or birth maybe of the Stingrays or the Z06s, the C8, I guess, it takes about 3 to 3.5 days from the initial start through paint and driving off the assembly line. Total takes about 3 to 3.5 days total. So it was a really cool experience. So
that sounds awesome. Yeah, I really need to get down there and do it one of these days. Matt Hurley is pretty insistent on not passing on that. If you have a 23 order locked in, don't pass on it. I would definitely take Matt Hurley's word for this. So if he's telling you not to pass, don't pass. Were you going to ask a question, Jason?
Seems like it, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, guys, let's get those thumbs ups. Look at Shane doing his dual jobs here. He's here answering questions and still telling you guys to hit that thumbs up button. Let's see. Paul Lamonaco, he actually emailed me the other day and asked me about some car shows coming up, and we do plan on hosting a car show here very soon, so stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing it most likely down at Blackout Tinting in Gibsonia, Pennsylvania. So if you guys are anywhere near that area, stay tuned for the dates. Me and probably Blackout Tinning will be putting it on together, but it will be a Vet Syndicate event. So, yeah, stay tuned for that.
We
General
had
Lee
ours last
says-
weekend. Cars, just a couple hundred.
Yeah, just a few. We
Yeah.
had a very small
Just
event this last
100.
weekend.
So if you guys aren't from Texas, Jason and Steve put on a show what was it, Saturday, right?
Yeah.
As the
Yeah.
Vet Syndicate Texas group.
Yep.
Very, very, very fruitful though. How many cars ended up showing up? Was it over 200?
Yes.
205.
205. Nice. So if you guys are anywhere
So-
near the DFW area, you should be checking these shows out because they're doing them pretty frequently.
Yep.
Yeah. We had pretty much the parking lot was already completely full. There was like literally no room left. And we had 55 sitting across the street all get together so they could all roll in at the same time. And they're like, where should we go? I was like, I don't know, any place you can find room. So it was nuts, man. It was literally crazy. I got 2 videos because there was just so much. I couldn't make one video out of it because it would be like over an hour long, or maybe not an hour. But the first video I'm almost done with, and it's like almost 30 minutes. So I've got one more, and one next video is like 7 minutes of cars driving through. And there's just one Corvette group that showed up that we're friends with, DFW Kings. Man, they had their own parade. It was amazing.
Yeah, it
From
was
what I
great.
saw, the turnout was
It
pretty
was
awesome.
our first time at this dealership, and they helped a little bit. You know, they did some stuff, but then they were like blown away about what we bring. The level of, we weren't burning out, we weren't doing anything. So automatically they said, "We want you next time. If you guys want to come back, we'll throw money at this thing." They're
Nice.
gonna So we already. I think it's gonna be June 10th. And we're going to do a 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and then we're going to drive afterwards. They were great, man. They were giving, I know it's drinking and driving, but they were giving free beer. And this next time they're going to have that and a whole bunch of other stuff, food. We got music, DJ, everything going up. It really turns into this party.
Nice.
Yeah.
So like I said, guys,
It
if you're in the DFW
was a
area,
lot of fun.
check them out. We'll be doing some up here in Pennsylvania, and I'll also be doing some down in Florida this upcoming summer. So stay tuned for those. But, and, you know, if the world connects correctly, maybe we can get together and do one of these shows. I'd love to get down to Texas or however it works out. We're gonna do some of these things together eventually.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Dr. Corvette says we should all plan on going next year. It was a very good time. I also went to Nashville, and that place was crazy. Dr. Corvette, that would be really awesome, actually. We should all plan to do that. That would be fun. Especially since where you live and where I live, if that same kind of thing happened again, we could just kind of carpool down together, too. Joe, yeah, I will be doing a show in Florida. I will do at least one down there and at least one in Pennsylvania, but odds are good I'm going to do more than one on in both states. Let's see.
I think Matt Hurley says he's yours. I think he needs to come to ours too. He can just ship his car. It's not that big a deal, but I think he needs to ship that and his Lambo. I'll take care of the Lambo while he's taking care of his Zio.
It'll be in good hands.
100%.
Mr. T asks, has Protective Dad noticed an improvement in performance as the miles climbed on his car? Did the ECM adjust to his mods? Well, let's first off ask him how many miles he has on his car.
1456.
70.
Man.
Oh, wow. Almost 500 or 1,500. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm about ready to. I'm gonna be launching it this weekend. So, well, if the weather's not nice, but I can tell you. Well, I put 2 mods. I put the exhaust, AWE exhaust, and if you haven't checked out my video and you want to know how loud the AWE touring is, check out that video. Just dropped it yesterday, and then the inventory between those two. I asked Jason, how many times did I have to start my car up at the show? Probably a dozen times. People kept on wanting, can you please start it? I was like always starting it. Everybody wanted to hear it. But performance-wise, I will say I'm a person that thinks the C8 is kind of sluggish compared to the C7 get up and go. And Jason will agree on this one, I know. It's definitely improved it to where when I get on it, it's noticeable.
Anything that you can do to help the car breathe better is going to make it respond better.
No, it responds.
Yeah, Matt Hurley, you definitely need to come to DFW, but I'm going to be coming to you pretty soon. I'm flying down to Florida on the 9th, and I think me and you at least will be able to get together for a little bit. Let's see. 2020 Matrix 8 would love to make it out to DFW. You guys really should if you're anywhere near that area. BPR 06, Steve or Jason taking their cars to Carlisle?
Not me.
Probably not. If I can get somebody to ship it for me, it's there. Yeah, like a AWE or somebody like that.
They will be there, Jason and Steve, just not their cars, unless they can get someone to ship them.
Right.
Let's see. Oh yeah, okay, you already answered that. I'm a little bit behind on the comments here. General Lee says, "Yep, same here for the 06. Can you start it for us, please?" Yeah. I'm sure you get that question all the time. That's because everybody knows the Z06 has that one thing that the regular C8 doesn't have, and they want to hear it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I still have Shane on here. If you guys have any more questions about the Bash, or in the meantime, Shane, if you have any special comments you'd like to drop about your experience, now's the time.
Yeah, we haven't discussed the ERAY ban and how it's not banned.
Yeah. So guys. The video I put out not too long ago was talking about the ERAY ban. The ERAY was banned from the NCCC, and that was basically a lot of the Corvette style racing that they had banned this thing from, and you couldn't even park within 30 feet of the building and everything. So I asked Shane, I said, hey, get in there and ask them about that ban and see what they say. And he had an answer for me very shortly afterwards, and I'll let him tell you what that answer was.
Yeah, so I attended one of the conferences that was hosted by Harlan Charles, Josh Holder, Tad Juter. Everybody was in presence during the conference. And I actually was on microphone and had a chance to ask the question. I'm like, hey, what's going on with this ERAY and the ban on NCCC? And they said, no, it's 100% complete error. Harlan Charles answered the question and said they're going to go back, and they've already spoken to them, and they're going to do a retraction, and they're going to put out some information here shortly. But it was an error that was made, and the ERAY will not be banned from NCCC racing at all. So,
yeah. So I speculated that this was going to be the issue right off the bat. Is that was very likely an old rule, something that was written probably 10 years ago, and it was just kind of still there, and it hadn't been revisited. With the newer technology and the battery-operated cars, or in this case, the hybrids, the new technology kind of helps prevent a lot of the problems that you're seeing with hybrid cars or battery-operated things. A lot of the things we talked about before, which was, I think it was electric scooters in New York, they're causing a big problem up there. And the biggest reason is because they're Chinese-made, and they don't have the same protections in place that a car like the ERAY does. So the batteries are having problems, they're exploding, they're catching fire, whatever. That's not the same thing as what you're going to experience with the ERAY. So that's one thing I want to make sure everybody's very clear on. The things that you're hearing happening are not high quality cars. Now, every now and then you'll see a Tesla have an issue like this, or something that is kind of high quality, but those are very, very one-off situations from what I can tell. And even then, odds are very good the battery was not initially the problem. So, yeah, I'm not always a giant fan of the battery-operated future that we're heading towards, but at the same time, I can realize where the issues lie and where they don't lie. And I knew whenever that ban came out that was not something that was going to stand for very long, because it's just an old rule that didn't really understand the new updated stuff.
And since we're talking about the batteries, go ahead, Jason.
Actually, then maybe you can answer this. My question still back to, what is the protection around the battery in case of an accident?
That's a good question. I mean,
the article is that the fires can either stem from just a defective, battery, something that has affected it, but accidents. And I'm sure that, small collisions won't make a big difference, but if you have a really bad accident, what's to protect us from having that big giant fire with these these batteries? Did they mention anything like that?
I'll let Shane answer if they say anything, but just my perspective on it is what I was saying about the protection is mostly electrical protection. So one of the big things is, originally, like early on in the lithium ion battery world for cars, they were not protected against overcharging or over temperature, stuff like that. So a regular alternator could potentially overcharge a lithium ion battery and of course make it explode. Same thing with a temperature problem. If the temperature was too high or too low, the battery could potentially experience some sort of catastrophic failure that equaled to an explosion. So there's a lot of onboard diagnostic stuff happening in even just a car battery now. If you do the lithium ion, like the anti-gravity stuff, it has built-in protections against all this stuff. Now, if someone were to go and just smash it with a sledgehammer, it's going to likely start fire, because that's the equivalent of getting into a bad car accident. That thing is probably going to start fire. And that's the realistic nature of the battery. Is if you crack into the cells of those things, it's going to start fire. I mean, your phone would do the same thing. If you snap your phone in half, it's going to start fire.
Is there any protection for it, or is it just like all the others? I mean,
so I know that, for example, if you look at like the Teslas or any of the full EV cars, the lowest portion of the frame now is essentially a giant row of battery that becomes the floor of the car now. These are different kinds of batteries inside the E-Ray. It's just a small bank of batteries that are protected with a casing, and it's inside that tunnel. And these aren't, this isn't an EV or long distance touring. It's more of like a high output front wheel drive operating kind of batteries. So I think it'd have to be a very, very severe accident to even compromise that compartment that it's in, because it's in the center of the cockpit,
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that center tunnel is literally that center tunnel is literally the structural backbone of the car. So if that tunnel is compromised, the car's basically split in two. But like it or not, those situations can happen. That car could be split in two. And if it is, even though that battery is much smaller than like what you were saying about with the Tesla, it is smaller. So the explosion and everything that comes from it would be smaller as well, but it's still a lithium ion fire. And I'm reading over here, Mr. T says that car lithium batteries have a discharge in an accident unless gas ignites it. So I don't know if that is a protection that maybe GM has built into the batteries on this thing, something that totally would make the battery. Basically, what has to happen is they need to make it so the batteries do not explode. And I mean, that's hard to do whenever the actual science of what makes that battery so good is that the materials in it are very likely to explode. they're just the way they react with each other and everything is what makes the power and what makes the battery technology good. But when it's punctured, it's not great. So
the one thing they did discuss in detail though about the E-Ray was some of the warranty for the batteries.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, let's talk about that.
It's coming with an 8-year, 100,000 mile replaceable warranty. And when the batteries maybe eventually fail, because there was a little bit of conflicting information during the conference. Tad Jukter said that the batteries will last the lifetime of the car, and everybody was super impressed. We're like, wow, that's a long time. And then Harlan Charles came on a little later and said that the warranty is 8 years, 100,000 miles, and that you will never lose the batteries after that point. They may degrade, they may become maybe less efficient, where they're not operating as like they would when they were still brand new. And of course, at that time, they would look at replacing it. And someone asked the question, hey, what does that cost price-wise? And he's like, well, we don't have those figures yet because we can't see 8-9 years down the road before someone ever runs into an issue. And up until that point, they're replaced by warranty for 8 years or 100,000 miles, no questions, no issues. So.
Yeah. And that's actually, believe it or not, that's actually one of the things I came to learn not too long ago about Tesla is, even though this is kind of a different kind of car, is that the Teslas are fully battery powered. And my concern and everybody else's concern that doesn't know any better is, well, what do you do when the battery goes bad? The odds of the battery going bad in that car are very slim because of their warranty. They have an 8-year unlimited mile warranty on that battery. So if the battery charging capability, I think it was 70%, maybe 75%, if it falls below, the charging capability of that battery falls below 70 or 75%, and you're within 8 years or unlimited miles, they will replace the battery. So the same kind of thing's happening here with GM, it looks like, is that they're offering that 8-year, 100,000 mile, because people, I mean, let's face it, people don't really drive their Corvettes. So the odds of you hitting 100,000 miles in a Corvette and anywhere near an 8-year period is probably not going to happen. But yeah, it's, the warranty is definitely there to protect against battery degradation. But as far as the battery exploding, actually, I had a really good comment on this over here, and it was from R23 HTC. Said, if the car is damaged to that point, you're probably not walking away. The battery would be the least of your concern. He's right. So if the car's split in half, odds are pretty good you're not doing real well yourself, and the battery catching fire is probably not that big of a concern. Yes and no. I mean, these are just things that people ask because we want to feel safe. But at the end of the day, just a lot of people have pointed out, you're driving a gasoline car. Every time you're behind the wheel, what's happening inside the engine that's either in front of you or right behind you is multiple little explosions. If you think about that, it's pretty unsafe to even drive a gasoline-powered car. So we can poke at all of the technologies here, but at the end of the day, the battery technology is pretty good. It's pretty sound. So the odds of these cars just randomly exploding and catching fire, it's not something you'd ever really have to worry about. But anyway,
Ed Wheeler O'Hara had a question too. He asked about if there was any hints or words on new variants of cars coming up in the future. So I asked this question to at least 3 or 4 engineers and several high-up personnel, and all I got was a smile and a learned response of,
yeah,
we are here for the ERAY.
Yeah, it's so
there was
funny.
no hints on any future variants, because I was asking about the Grand Sport versus the ERAY. I was asking about ZR1. I was asking about, the Zora, and I kept getting the same response. We are here for the ERAY, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, come on. No, nothing. They would not give me any hints on that. So
yeah, anytime I've ever been at any of those kind of things, the dealership people are always very tight-lipped. It's like, that's one of the first things they're taught whenever they're going to the dealership. Don't answer these kind of questions. Mm-hmm. Avoid and avert.
Look away.
Yeah. All right, guys. So one last time, I want to talk about the giveaway. Tonight we are going to give away the wireless Android Auto / CarPlay device here. So if you would like to get entered to win this is really going to be good, especially if your car is pre-2021. A lot of the newer 22s and ups have started to give you a wireless functionality. The C8 Corvette started it in 21, but a lot of other cars are a little bit lagging behind. This can be used on any car. It does not have to be a Corvette. $10 gets you entered to win. I think those things typically go for around 100 to 150 bucks or so. And then, of course, that will also get you entered to win the Carbon Flash engine dress-up parts. This will fit any C8. So if you have a Z06, it'll fit. If you have a C8, it'll fit. If you have a C8 ERAY, if you're one of somehow lucky to do that, it'll fit. So $10 donation will get you entered. D'Anthony's in the house. What's up, D's Rides?
D's Rides.
It has been a while. It's been a little bit more than a minute.
No, it's been an hour.
It's been at least an hour, yeah. So, guys, we are going to go ahead and do the drawing on the wireless device there, Steve. If you have the thing ready to go, we'll see who wins that.
Give me a couple seconds.
Now remember, even if you do win this tonight, you are still entered to win the Carbon Flash engine dress-up parts. So it is possible you could win both.
Okay. You
All
ready?
right, let's flip over to Steve here. Who do we got? Future Sean.
Fine. You don't think he's even
All
in
right.
tonight?
I was going to say, I don't think he's in here tonight. Let's draw another one just as a backup, but I will reach out to Future Sean, number one. Second
Backup
possible
is-
winner. Blown 6 Gen. All right, so I will reach out to Future Sean. Blown 6 Gen was in here, so if you want to email me, Blown 6 Gen, let me know your information. I will reach out to Sean and see if he wants the wireless item or not. And if you do want it, send me your info and we'll get it shipped out to you if he doesn't want it. I know that was a lot, but so like I said, even if Future Sean takes it or Blown 6 Gen, either way, you guys are still entered to win the Carbon Flash engine dress-up parts. But for now, I am going to play the, we have a couple different exhaust videos that I wanted to play for you guys. So before we sign off, I'm going to play these. Let me cue these things up here. So we're going to start off with that one guy that everybody knows. And it's going to be, who do you guys think it's going to be?
General Lee.
It's going to be General Lee. How about that? General Lee, we're going to play your Z06 starting up video first. And by the way, I love the fact that we're about to play this. And this thing is facing in to your garage, not out. Oh, I bet your house smelled great after this. But here we go. This is the first Z06 exhaust sound of the day. All right, so that was General Lee's. Dee's Ride says that General has the dopest garage man cave.
That's for sure.
It is pretty dope. But I think it was funny that he's cold starting that thing facing into his garage. I like it. Darren Burnett's in the house. Thanks for tuning in. He has quite the setup of cars as well. Between Darren and Matt Hurley, those are the two guys that I want to be like when I grow up. Dr. Corvette says, my wife would say, I'm sorry, my husband passed away in the accident, but are the batteries still covered? All right, so what's next? Who do we got next? All right, who do you think's next, Steve?
Matt Hurley.
He's not. Taking another guess. No.
I don't know who else. I don't know who else sent in. So.
I know. I was surprised you got the first one. The next one's going to be BPR Z06. I'm pretty sure he's in here too. I want to say I saw him. So BPR Z06, this is your beautiful torch red car. He's the one that won the race ramps a couple live videos ago. Let's hear this thing. Okay, so one takeaway is that every torch red C8 Z06 purchase comes with a red microfiber towel for covering up your license plate.
Yep.
All right, so we got two more. The next one is going to be from Bill Sharp. I know usually he can't comment in here, but he is usually an active watcher. So here's another Z06 cold start.
Am I the only one can't hear any of these cold starts?
Yeah, you're on.
Yeah, for some reason, Shane, the guys on here can't hear him. You'll have to go back through and rewatch these
We
later.
just go, ooh,
Yeah,
ooh,
just be like, whoa, that sounded great.
ooh.
All right, so
I was like, oh man, I can't hear none of these.
Yeah.
That just gives you another
That's
reason
why
to
we
come back and rewatch
about
later.
how great. We know it does, but we have no actual.
So what this does for me is it makes me really, really want a freaking Z06. You guys, your cars sound awesome. The last one, I'd say I saved the best for last, but they all sound so freaking good. Matt Hurley's is last, and he does have a Fab Speed exhaust on this, so it does sound really good. And the best part is, though, I was watching this video already. I wasn't even as captivated by the sound as I am the absolute perfect fitment of those wheels he has on this Z06. It blows my mind how great these things look. So keep that in mind when I show you this video. You're going to like the sound, but he walks around the car a little bit. And just look at the perfectly flush fitment of these wheels in the wheel well of the Z06. It's nuts. I mean, not that I wouldn't want to have that lineup of a garage, but look at the front wheel. How perfectly flush that is. I mean, that is just absolutely gorgeous. I love the fitment of those wheels. Matt, again, absolutely fantastic garage you have. But it's not even just the garage, it's the way he sets his cars up. It's exactly what I would want to do with my cars.
Hey Justin, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
I know you're kind of well connected with AWE. Do we know, have they turned out an exhaust setup yet for the Z06s?
So that's a really good question, Shane. I am going to have an official answer on that in probably a couple days. So you can probably deduce from that answer what the answer is. But
okay.
Yeah, something's coming soon. They're working on
R&D's.
Right,
R&D's in the plan.
yes, it is. Yeah, we should have something really, really soon here. But yeah, Matt Hurley, he is extremely picky with his mods in his cars, and so am I. And I mean, I swear, like I'm starting to think maybe me and Matt are related somehow. I'm gonna find out he's a brother from another mother. But yeah, guys, I think that's gonna do it for today. I want to give a big thank you to Shane for tuning in with us tonight. He took time out of his day to kind of come in here and answer some questions about the Bash. So big thank you to Shane. Everybody talk about Shane and his beard and how amazing it is. But yeah, guys, Shane has turned out to be really a valued asset of the channel here with the reporting on scene capability. He's fired off some videos for us that have turned out to be really, really good information for the subscribers here. So yeah,
my next plan is an ERAY party in Chicago with Chet Ball from the creator of ERAY wheels. So
that would definitely be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Something tells me that guy parties hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let
me tell you.
He says we're long lost brothers. I think we are too. But go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying. Yeah, I know Shane. Not Shane, but
I do know you.
Definitely. I meant to say, not you. I don't know about you partying, but yeah, I know Chet does.
Mm-hmm.
Blown 6 Gen, I see you're in here now. I didn't see a comment from you, but you are the second runner-up for the wireless device. If you want to shoot me your information so we can give it out to you if the first winner chooses to pass or doesn't answer. But yeah, big thank you to Shane. Shane, thanks for tuning in. Obviously, we've become friends, so it's awesome to have you on here. Front seat driver, protected dad pranks. We're always here doing the the Corvette Weekly, the Vet Syndicate thing, and I think I speak for us all when I say we enjoy it. And looking forward to Carlisle. It's coming up pretty fast, but yeah, guys, I think we're going to wrap this one up. So stay tuned for the next 2 weeks. We're going to be running the engine appearance package giveaway, and then after that, we're going to have something else big. So yeah, thank you guys again. We'll see you same time, same place next week.
Peace.
See ya.
See you, boys.